Okay, everyone, it's 12:30 p.m. We're going to kick off today's webinar. I just want to say hi and thank you for joining today's Getting Started with Halaxy Webinar. My name is Shane. I handle all things marketing here at Halaxy, and it's great to see everyone here today. If you're new to Halaxy or just thinking about using Halaxy to run your practice for the first time, this really is the perfect webinar, and we're going to go through all the basics of running your practice using Halaxy, as well as some of the powerful automations that Halaxy offers to save you time. Before we get started, though, I thought I would ask everyone a few questions to get to know each other better. And I think some of you already said, where are you located? But if anyone else wants to share that in the chat, feel free to drop that now. I know there's some practitioners in Perth, a few in Singapore. Halaxy is a global business, so that's good to see. I'm from Newcastle, Brisbane, very nice. We do have a big concentration of practitioners in Australia as well as in Europe and other international countries. That's nice to see. From Melbourne, someone's very cold as well, like us. And what about your profession? And what kind of practice are you in? This will help us tailor today's webinar for you. Speech pathologist, allied health, counselor, counseling. We do have a big concentration in allied health here. A nurse, very nice, very nice. I think that'll really line up with the lessons that Ria is going to go through today. Now, I thought I'd just give everyone a bit of background into Halaxy. Our practice management software was really built to solve the complexity of healthcare. And whether you're looking at scheduling, to processing claims and payments, and a whole lot more, healthcare really is a complex industry, and we understand that. And this is on top of the clinical work and just seeing patients on day to day. And this is why our goal at Halaxy is to make healthcare more efficient, more effective, and more accessible for everyone. But where does Halaxy fit into that? See, Halaxy doesn't help just reduce your administration. It automates and removes it, saving you up to an hour every day so that you can focus on what we think matters most, and that's patient care. And part of that is really recognizing that every practice and every practitioner is different. Whether you're a psychologist working in a remote community, maybe in Perth, or a GP in a large multidisciplinary practice in Singapore, or any one of the other 80 professions that use Halaxy to run their practice every day, you can customize Halaxy exactly to your profession wherever you are in the world. And our core practice management software, which includes all the features you need to run your practice, it's also 100% free. And you can start using Halaxy immediately and for as long as you like. But coming back to the focus of today's webinar exactly, today's webinar will get you ready to use Halaxy. We're going to cover some of the basics like how to set up your practice, how to use Halaxy's smart calendar, how to set up basic payments, and how to manage users and access, all the basic features of Halaxy. Okay, that's enough from me. I'll hand it over to our learning maestro, Ria. Ria, take it away.
Hi, Shane. Thanks for that great intro. Hi, everyone. My name is Ria Fernandez. I am the Content and Learning Specialist here at Halaxy. I'm really excited to be with you guys here today. It's always such a joy to teach our users how to get the most out of Halaxy because it really is an amazing software. So before I get into our learning goals, can I just ask how long have you been using Halaxy? Just so we kind of have an idea of where everyone's level is at. You can just drop that in the chat. 4 weeks, wow, brand new, lots of newbies. Okay, 3 years, nice, Jason. Okay, very nice, brand new, definitely lots of brand new users. Okay, so that's great because this webinar is perfect if you are completely new to Halaxy and are not quite sure where to start. You might sometimes be asking, am I doing this right? Or like, how do I do X in Halaxy? So that's exactly what we're going to tackle, just the basics of Halaxy. So let's get into our learning goals for today. First thing we'll do is I'll show you how to navigate Halaxy. So learn how to get around the software, get comfortable with the interface, and to show you the essential pages that you need to know. The second thing we'll do is to set up your practice. So you will complete your practitioner profile, we'll enter your practice location detail and your practice hours. And we'll also discuss profile verification, which is really important because it unlocks more exciting features on Halaxy. Then we'll talk about the Halaxy workflow. So we'll explain how you can run your entire practice efficiently right from your calendar. This is where the magic of Halaxy lies and what makes us different from other practice management software. Next, we'll also set up basic payments. This is an essential component of running a healthcare practice. For this webinar, we will cover the easiest way to get paid, which is taking card payments in Halaxy. When you properly set this up, you can process payments straight from any Halaxy invoice, and you can even schedule payments for automated processing, so you really don't need to do anything. And lastly, we'll show you how to add and manage your users and access. So we can show you how to add multiple users, such as other practitioners who treat patients, or your administrative staff, such as practice managers, receptionists, or bookkeepers. And we can also show you how to manage different access settings for every user. So with these goals, these 5 basic things, you'll have a basic practice up and running in no time. And of course, Halaxy has so many more features, but some of which we're going to briefly touch on here. But for this webinar, we'll really stick to the basics. You can learn everything there is to know about using Halaxy in our help guide. So you'll find the link here on screen at support.halaxy.com. Everything, all our features are explained there. So you can just check that out anytime you want. If you want to follow along with this webinar, you can log into your Halaxy account or create an account. It's 100% free. You can put the screens side by side if you want to watch this webinar and also follow along with Halaxy. If you want to participate in this webinar, if you have any questions, just pop your questions in the chat tab. We have Aaron and Ethan from the service team joining us here in the webinar, and they'll be answering your questions in the chat. Shane will also be dropping links in the chat at some points in this webinar to linking to help guide articles that can supplement to what we'll be discussing here in this webinar. So just a quick reminder as well, please keep questions relevant to the topic. We're going to be discussing those 5 points. So if there's anything about reminders or online bookings or Medicare, those can be for another webinar. So we'll just stick to the topic. If you have any complex questions, like for your particular situation, we recommend that you email or call the service team instead, so they can assist you with your issue much faster. So if everyone's ready, we can get started. So I'm just gonna quickly jump into Halaxy. All right, so this is what you see, right, when you first log in. So this is a brand new account. Nothing is here yet. So when you log in, you're taken to the homepage. It's the calendar, and you can always return here quickly by clicking on the Halaxy logo. Wherever you are in Halaxy, when you click the Halaxy logo, you'll be taken here to the calendar. On the left, we have here a menu panel. This is the navigation menu. So every section in Halaxy that you need to manage your practice can be found here. So you can go to your patient list, everything to do with your schedule, your invoices are here. So you can just click on these top level menu items to expand them or collapse them. So you have reports, you have your professional contacts, organizations. So everything you need is here. And you can feel free to explore those. We also have a directory for all of these pages. If you want to know what all these pages do, we have a directory in the help guide, and Shane is just linking to that help guide article now. On the bottom left, we also have this help and resources button, which we really recommend that you use. So if you click that, that's going to open a help panel here. So we have our webinars. We have some good resources to help you learn how to use Halaxy. You can quickly contact us from here. And one of the best things about this support panel is this is linked to our help guide. So instead of going to another window and going support.halaxy.com, you can actually search directly in here. So let's say I want to learn how to send, let's say, intake form. I want to learn about intake forms, and this is gonna pull up all the relevant articles on intake forms straight from our help guide, so you can find help quickly here. We also have a news tab here. So all the latest updates or latest releases are always announced here. So best to check that out as well regularly. The next in the navigation is you can also customize your menu display. So let's say you work with a smaller screen and you want to maximize your calendar space. Up here on the top left, if you see this 3 lines icon next to the logo, you can click that and it collapses, it minimizes that navigation panel and it'll expand when you hover over it. So that just kind of helps save space on your screen. If you want to go back to the default view where it expands, just click that 3 lines menu again and it's going to stay put. Next, we have the top search bar here. So this top search bar, this is used to find specific records in your practice. So I'm just gonna flip to an existing account that I have that has info, just to show you how this works. So let's say I'm looking for a specific patient. So I'm going to type their name here. And then when their name comes up, if you select it, there's a preview of what their profile contains. So you can see what claims they have, who their contacts are, their outstanding balance, when their last appointment was, how many appointments they've had in total. And if you want to open their profile, you can just click this icon here, the box with the arrow. So if you click that, it's going to open the patient profile in a new window. So that's a really handy way to find the records that you need. So you can do this for invoice numbers, professional contacts, or organizations. So that's a really handy search bar. And then here we have the main area, which is the calendar. And this is where we're mainly going to be doing our work later. One more thing. One really helpful tip to know when you're using Halaxy, because obviously there are a lot of features, there are a lot of fields, and sometimes you might not be sure what those fields mean. So I'll give you an example. I'm just going to open the calendar preferences here. Anytime you see a field and you're not sure what that means, if you see this icon with a question mark in a circle, just hover over that. That's a tooltip. So that's always going to tell you what this field is asking for or what it does. So for example, invoice send status, that means it's going to show an icon on the calendar if the invoice has been sent for this appointment. So if you want an icon to show next to the patient's name, it shows a star icon next to the patient's name if they're new. So just hover over that, and you can do this all over Halaxy. Okay, so that is the basic interface of Halaxy. That's how you navigate it. Do you have any questions for now regarding the interface? If not, we can move on to the next topic, which is setting up your practice. Okay, so to set up your practice, you must first think how your practice is currently structured. So just to show you a quick example. So some of you may be solo practitioners, some of you may have a few practitioners on staff, and some of you may be a group of multiple clinics. So in Halaxy, your practice structure has different levels. There's the group level, location level, and individual level. If you're a solo practice, that's fine. You just have one for each. But if you have multiple, say you have multiple locations, multiple practitioners under one group, it can look like this. So just a question, like how many people do you have on staff in your practice? Like how many users do you have in your practice currently? We have lots of solo practitioners, I see. 5, okay. Does anybody have multiple locations? Lots of solo practitioners. Yep, multiple locations. That's cool. 3 locations. That's great. So the reason why we have these different levels is because no matter the size or structure of your practice, Halaxy can be customized to any kind of practice. You can have different settings for the whole group, for specific locations, or even specific practitioners. So just so I'll give you some quick examples. A group-wide setting could be like, for all locations, all practitioners, you might want all the invoices to be automatically emailed to patients as receipts as soon as they're fully paid. That's going to apply to everybody. And then you might have location level settings. So let's say you have a Melbourne location and a Sydney location. You might want to have different bank accounts for all the payments to go to. So then you can have different settings for that. Then at an individual level, let's say you want each practitioner to have their own individual reminder templates to say different, that the content is different. So no matter if you're a solo practitioner like this, you can just set everything group wide, and that's fine because you're the only practice, but you're the only practitioner. But as let's say your practice grows and you become, you have multiple locations, you have multiple practitioners in your location, then you can customize your settings as much as you need to. So for the purposes of this webinar, we're just going to be setting up as a solo practice, which is what most of you have. So setting up your practice includes two things. You have your practitioner profile and your business location. So the best part about one of the best things about Halaxy is your profile and your practice location. You only need to set up your details once, and then they'll always be automated for you. So I'll just give you a quick demo of what that looks like. Again, I'm going to be showing you on an existing account that has full records. So you can see here on the calendar, you have different colors. So each color is your practice hours for different locations. So the purple shade, the purple hours are location 1, and say, I think it's Gotham. And then the peach hours are from location 2, which is Smallville. So if you click here on the purple, you'll see that the location for the appointment is automatically set to Gotham. And then if you click in the peach, it now automates to Smallville. So that's one way that your calendar can be automated. Okay, so the other thing as well is if you create an appointment here on, say, the purple location, the invoice looks like this. You'll see that the address will already be populated, and the proper ABN, your provider number, is going to be populated. So we'll show you how to set that up in a bit. So let's start off with setting up your practitioner profile. So on the left panel, sorry, let's just go back to this one, the brand new account. Okay, so on the left panel, click personal, then profile. So this is your Halaxy practitioner profile. And to edit it, just click edit in the top right. So you'll need to complete your profile here to verify that you are an authentic practitioner. You also have a whole bunch of other fields here. So if you want to have online bookings, and if you want to list your profile in the Halaxy practitioner directory, all of this will display. So patients who are booking at your practice will be able to see all of this, except your APRA identification, I think, and your prescriber number. But all of this, like your expertise, your credentials, they'll be displayed in your online bookings page. So make sure you have your APRA number here for Australian practitioners. If you don't have APRA, that's fine. You can leave it blank. You can also set a training status. If you are, say, an assistant or still a trainee, you can specify that. It'll show as well in your profession that you're, say, psychologist, and then in parentheses, it'll say trainee. Just a few questions here. Do you recommend adding a signature? If you, we recommend adding a signature if you have like in your clinical notes, you want to be able to sign those, or you have clinical orders that you need to sign. like for imaging orders, pathology orders, you'll be able to sign those with a digital signature. Aaron or Ethan, can you drop the link to the signature article in the chat? That would be really helpful. Is it possible to add expertise other than from the drop-down menu? At the moment, no, but if there is an expertise that you would want added to this list, you can email us at community@halaxy.com. We always collate, like same thing with the professions list as well. Just email us if there's something that you want added to the list. Okay, so I'm just gonna add an ID there, and if you're done, just click Save Profile. Kiva, if you've filled up this page, you might need to set up your location, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So the next thing we're going to do is to set up your practice location. So on the left panel, still under personal, click locations. And this is your locations page. So when you sign up, your first location is already set up for you, and it's just defaulted to your name. If you're practicing at only one location, you can just set up this existing one. If you practice at multiple locations, you can later add another one by clicking Add Location here in the top right. For now, because I'm a solo practitioner, I practice at this one location, I am going to set up this location. So next to the practice name here on the right, just click Edit. And now we're going to complete the practice details here. So let's just call this Halaxy Health. Let's say Melbourne. And let's just put an ABN there. And let's add a website. The more complete this is, the better. Okay, so your open hours colors. So remember earlier I showed you the calendar, and here I'll show you. This will show your open hours. This is the open hours for your location. So it's just a good visual cue. This is a good way to color code your calendar, so you know that when you create an appointment for this part of your calendar with this color, you know what location you're booking at. So we'll just set the open hours to say this green one, and let's just add let's see, Victoria. For phone, if you want the phone number to be the same for if the phone number is for the whole practice, so let's say you just leave this. You don't have to select a practitioner. That means this phone number is going to be for the entire practice. But if you want to have a specific phone number for a specific practitioner, so let's say this one, then that's when you select a practitioner. Then on the bookings page, it's going to specify that this phone number is for this practitioner. And then this is for the entire practice. So once you're done with that, just click Save. And now you've set up your practice. So now that you've entered your practice information, these details can be used anywhere in Halaxy, your appointments, your invoices, clinical notes, all without you needing to enter them again. Before we set up our practice hours, I just want to touch on profile verification a little bit. So the way to get your profile verified is to enter your practice details, like your APRA. Well, if you don't have APRA, that's fine. You can leave it blank. But it's also required to set up your practice location details. So your ABN, your business address, the more complete this is, the better. Like if you have a contact number, anything to prove that you are an authentic practitioner. So with verification, Halaxy just really wants to promote authentic practices. This is to protect patients when they're booking in our online directory. This is to protect the directory from any fraud And also this also unlocks, being verified also unlocks a lot of just more features on Halaxy. So some of these include enabling your online directory listing, processing card payments on Halaxy, taking online bookings, sending SMS and emails to patients, and you also get access to hundreds of clinical templates from Halaxy's preset library. So like psychologists, you can import DAS21 or K10 templates into the clinical notes ready. Like you don't have to print any of those forms. They can just be imported. So the sooner you get verified, the sooner you can unlock the full potential for your practice on Halaxy, and it only takes a few minutes. So let's check some of the questions. Why does it show online bookings disabled? So Cheryl, they're disabled by default. So you can enable online bookings here. If you click edit, and then you can just enable it here. So it's not enabled by default. Just make sure that you have a verified profile to be able to use online bookings. Telehealth, Nadima, can telehealth be set up as a location? Yeah, you can have a separate account, just separate location just for your telehealth appointments. We can also show the, I'll show you later in the calendar how you can set an appointment to be a telehealth appointment. My organization is offering telehealth only. Business. Yes, that's fine. Just use your business registration details for your location. Yes, Santi. Okay, so let's move on. We're gonna start setting up your hours. So your practice hours on Halaxy are set per practitioner, not for the whole location. It's not like, okay, Halaxy Health is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It has to be per practitioner because not all practitioners are gonna have the same schedule. So here we're gonna set up the hours for this one practitioner here. So under this location and under this practitioner, click add another schedule here. And this is where you set up your hours. So let's go through some of these fields. So frequency is how frequent is this schedule going to be? If you have the same schedule every week, say Mondays to Fridays, 9 to 5, then that's fine. You can leave this as weekly. You can use fortnightly. So if your schedule alternates every week, so let's say this week, week 1, you practice only in the mornings, week 2, afternoons, then mornings, then afternoons, you can set that to fortnightly, and then so on and so forth every 3 weeks. And this can vary up to every 4 weeks. So let's just leave this at weekly. If you, this is a temporary schedule, you can set an ending date. So let's say as of right now, I'm undergoing training and I'm going to be practicing only in the mornings, and I'm only going to be doing this for 3 months. Then you can set an end date for that. And then later on, when you shift back to full hours, you can add a different schedule. Next is the default appointment location. So you can set just the default selection for what type of appointment this is. So what that does is, I'll just show you in the other account where we have records. So if you click here, if you have the default appointment location as in clinic, then it's going to set the appointment location as the clinic, the actual clinic. But if you set this to, let's say, Halaxy Telehealth, this is going to be the Halaxy Telehealth will be the default selection here. You can still change this when you're creating the appointment. You don't have to go with the default, but that's just the default selection. So that's what default appointment selection does. Then if this is your default practice, let's say you have multiple locations, you can just set this as the default. And then let's create your hours. So we'll do this by day. So first we'll click add new. And let's say this is pretty straightforward, right? Like Monday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But let's say you want to leave an hour free for your lunch break and you don't want to have any bookings during your lunch break. You can break this up. So say Monday 9, and let's set this to 12. And then let's add another Monday, but this time you'll set this to 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So let's see what that looks like. Let's just quickly save that. And I'm just gonna open the calendar in a new tab real quick, just so we see what that looks like. So you'll see that we have our open hours calendar here, and it left an empty spaces here, which means you don't take bookings during this time. So let's just go back to the schedule. So we'll edit that again. And let's say, let's put this to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we're just gonna do 9 to 5 for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then click save. So when you open the calendar, so again, click the Halaxy logo. I'm just gonna click Control when I click on this, so it opens in a new tab. So now you can see that our hours have reflected. Yeah, so that's how your practice hours work. When you click here, it already, earlier, I think we set, sorry. I think I'd set this to Halaxy Telehealth, which is why here the default selection is Halaxy Telehealth. So I'm just gonna shift this back to in-clinic consultation. Let's just refresh that. Okay, we'll move on to the next part of our webinar, which is the Halaxy workflow. So this really is the best part about Halaxy. So in a healthcare practice, a basic workflow can look like this. Sorry. So typical practice workflow can look like this with other practice management software. So you add a new patient, you create the fee, you create the appointment, the patient comes in for their appointment, and and before that, like, yeah, you set up your appointment reminders, you create a clinical note, and then you create an invoice. But in the Halaxy workflow, you can knock all of those out and more just by creating an appointment on the calendar. So all you need to do is create a patient appointment and add a fee to that appointment. And all of these other things here, you can add a new patient, added the new fee, your reminders are set up, your clinical note is already set up, and you've automatically generated an invoice for that appointment. So I'll just quickly show how that works. So on your calendar, so click anywhere. So what day, for the day and time that you want to create the appointment. So let's say Wednesday at 9 a.m. So click on that time slot. So first we're gonna add a new patient. So let's say there's a brand new patient, they've never been to your practice before. Let's just enter their name. And then in this drop down, just click add Lee Blake as a new patient. And in here, you can enter their birth date, and their contact email, their address, and their phone number, and then click save. So now you've added that patient. Next, we're going to import a fee. So if you are using Medicare, Halaxy has preset fees already with the corresponding rebate added. So you don't have to enter the rebates and the fee names manually anymore. So you can search them by the item number or the fee name. So let's say I'm gonna use this. Hang on. Sorry. Let's say Medicare. Yeah. So you have all these Medicare fees here. And if you want to import them, let's say I'm going to import this and click here. So then you're about to add this fee to your practice. So if any of you want to charge a gap fee, so obviously you have the amount here, which is equal to the rebate. If you want to charge a gap fee, just change the amount. And this should be the rebate plus the gap. So let's just say if you want to charge like 150, then that's going to be what you'll charge the patient. You can edit other things here, such as the appointment duration, if you want to color code this fee. When you're ready, just click import fee. And that fee has been imported to your practice. So you can use this again for following appointments. Next, once you're done here, just click save. So you've added a new patient, you've imported a new fee, just click save. And just from that, once you've saved this, you'll see that you already created a clinical note, and you've also created an invoice for this appointment. So those are already, like, you don't have to set up anything anymore. You don't have to create these from scratch. They're generated for you. So once you're here, you can even add your patient's Medicare details. So from here, I'm just gonna quickly add their Medicare. So click on this pencil icon here. You have their Medicare card details. And then say this. And then click save. Then their Medicare card number is added. And then if you need to add a referral as well, so click add referral. We have some preset referral types as well. So for example, we have a few psychologists here on this webinar. So say mental health treatment plan. We have these preset referral types. So for example, I'm just gonna add the mental health treatment plan referral, and that automatically adds 6 appointments here. And from here, we can also add the contact, the GP that referred them to you. So for example, I'm just gonna add this as a new contact. So click add as a new contact, and you can say they're a GP. Sorry. You also have to add their practice. So that's added, and once you're done, just click save. Add a date for your Medicare referral, and once you're done, click save. So now this patient has this appointment, you've added their Medicare claim, and you've added their referral. So you can also see in this referral, how many appointments have been booked for this referral. So just hover over 0 out of 6 appointments attended, and you'll see that there's 1 appointment that's linked to this referral already. So when you book another appointment, this is going to be automatically updated. So just so you know, just so you can see, I'm going to open the invoice for this appointment. So again, I'm clicking control and clicking, so it opens in a new tab. You'll see that the practitioner details have been populated with the practice's address, the ABN that I used for that. And here the Medicare claim is ready. And you can add your provider number here. So just click this pencil icon and just add your provider number and click save. So to see how like the magic of this works, we're gonna book another, let's say you're gonna book this patient for a follow-up appointment the following week. So I'm just gonna go back to the calendar by clicking on the Halaxy logo here in the top left. So let's say next week, I am going to click the arrow here to go to next week, and let's schedule the same patient. So since that patient's already been added, you just need to search their name and they're gonna come up here in the drop down. So click that. And again, we're gonna use the Medicare fee that we imported earlier. You'll see that the gap is already added. So the pricing already includes your gap. And I'm gonna click save. So then you'll see that it still says 0 of 6 appointments attended because these appointments are in the future. But if you hover, you'll see that there are 2 appointments linked to this, 2 future appointments linked to this referral. And when we created this appointment, the patient's Medicare card details were automatically populated along with their referral. And when you click invoice, you'll see that the provider number has already been populated as well. So it's all automated. And once you've seen the patient, you can quickly process payment from the invoice. So let's say if you want to process you want to have them pay the gap fee. So click add payment details. And let's just put their credit card details. Sorry. And then you can store, if you have their credit card details, you can store their credit card for future use. So you'll be able to process their payment instantly or even automatically. We can schedule those payments. You can choose to assign the processing fees from the transaction to the patient, or you can choose to absorb them yourself. So from here, this is to so once you're ready to process, just click process and the patient's credit card will be charged. If you are not processing payments in Halaxy, you can also just click mark as paid. Say they're paying in cash or BPay or direct debit. You can just do that. And then when you click save, the invoice now says paid in full. Okay, so we need to set up, so that is the Halaxy workflow. All we did was create an appointment and we were able to knock all of these out. You only have to set up the patient's details, like add them as a new patient, and then add their claim details and their referrals. And that's it. Everything else is automated. The next thing that we'll be doing is to set up basic payments. So this is an essential component of running a healthcare practice, which is taking payments. We'll show you the basic way to get paid, which is taking card payments and processing them here on a Halaxy invoice. So Halaxy payment processing removes your need to handle cash or deal with costly FPOS terminals. This completely removes admin because you can schedule payments to be automatic. So this gives you back valuable time in your day. So to set up your payments. Oh, and by the way, if you want to set up payments and process payments, you need to have a verified profile. So again, complete your practitioner profile and your practice location details if you want to process payments. Okay, so let's set it up. On the left panel, click settings and then click payments. This takes you to the payment settings page. And just under this deposit section here, so click the edit icon. And first we'll put your bank account name. So this is where your patient payments are going to be deposited to you. So let's put the practitioner name here, put in your DSB number, and then your account number. Then you can select what the default selection is for processing your for your processing fees. Do you want to allocate it to the invoice payer by default, or do you want the practice to pay for the processing fees? You can select that here. So let's say you want to pass it on to the invoice payer. And then one thing we also really recommend that you do is to edit your payment descriptor. So this is going to be what's going to appear on your patient's credit card bank statement for the charge to your the payment charge that was made to your practice. So just make sure that this is something that they can recognize, because sometimes if they don't recognize the payment, then they'll call their credit card company and say, I don't recognize this charge. So make sure you change this to, you have this as your name or your practice name. So once that's done, click save. Oh, shoot. The amount was, sorry, just for the processing fee settings, make sure to select the amount that you want to assign. So you can just set this to 100%. So that means you're assigning the full amount of the processing fee to the invoice payer. So click save. And once that's done, make sure to also add a credit card. Sorry. Just here under Halaxy credit settings, you can add your credit card here. And when you've added a credit card, this also allows you to buy Halaxy credits. So credits are, this lets you pay for certain features that turbocharge your practice. So for example, SMS messages cost 1 credit. You can also process Medicare rebates. That's also 1 credit. Halaxy telehealth requires credits. So you can just you can add a credit card here and buy credits. They can be as low as 15 cents in Australian dollars. So for example, here, if you click, I want to buy $100 worth of credits, you'll see how many credits that buys and how much it would be per credit. So that is setting up your payments. And then once you have all of this set up, you have your bank account set up, all you need to do is just click process from the invoice, and you'll be able to take the credit card payment. The other thing you could do here under the payment processing section, so just click the edit icon, and this allows you to automate the payments for your patients. So as of right now, we have manual processing. That means you have to go to each individual invoice, click process now. But what you can do is you can automate it. So if you have your patient's credit card details on file, you can select automatic daily and say you're going to put this to, say, 7 p.m. So this means it's going to process all your invoices for that day at 7 p.m. Or you can click automatic after appointment starts. So this is going to charge each individual invoice. So as soon as the appointment starts, like at 0 minutes, the patient's credit card is going to be charged. So you can set this at a clinic level. You can have a separate preference, let's say for an individual practitioner. Let's say this particular practitioner wants to process their invoices at 5 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. So you can this can be as customized as you need it to be. But if you're a solo practice, you can just keep this at a group level and just click save. So now we have here for our practice, all the invoices are going to be processed daily at 5 p.m. But this will work if you have your patient's credit card on file. The last thing we're going to talk about is how to add users. So as we saw earlier, a lot of you have multiple users in your practice. So on the left panel under settings, click users. And this is the page where we manage our users. So just so everyone knows, Halaxy does not charge for the number of users. You can have as many people on your staff here on Halaxy as you need, and it's free of charge. So to add a new user, this is your group name. Just here on the left, on the right side, click at this add user icon. And then this is where you enter the user's detail. So let's say choose Smith. So select the role that this person will have. So practitioner or administrator. So practitioner has more access to clinical stuff, whereas administrator might not need access to clinical features such as the clinical notes. This is good for bookkeepers, your receptionists, practice managers. So let's say, let's keep this as another practitioner. And let's say they are another psychologist. If you can just leave their registration number blank, and you put their email address. Sorry, and then you can give them a temporary password as well. So next, you can customize the level of access that they have. So there are 4 different levels here. There's personal access, own records, clinical access. So the difference with this is like full access means I can see all the patients in this practice group. I can view their clinical notes. I can view all the invoices. But for example, a personal access, I can only view my patients. I can only view my clinical notes. So you can select, we have a detailed breakdown on what these different access levels are in our help guide, and Shane will be dropping a link to that in the chat. And once you select an access level, you can even customize it further here. So let's say I want somebody to be a full access users, but I don't want them editing the communication templates, or I don't want them fiddling with the clinical settings. So you can just check and uncheck on what you want them to be able to see and do on Halaxy. And then you can also assign them to a location already. So I'm just going to add them to the current location that we have and click save. Oh, wait, there's yep. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oops. Click save. And now you have added the a new user. So again, you can add as many users as you need and assign them to the appropriate locations. Yeah, so from what we've done, we have covered gotten used to the interface of Halaxy. We've learned how to set up our practice and get verified. We learned the Halaxy workflow, how to set up basic payments, and also adding users. So we've tackled all our learning goals for this webinar. And from these basics, these are the basic foundations to launching your practice on Halaxy. And if you've set all of this up, you should be ready to start taking appointments. And Shane is just gonna drop this article link in the chat. So we have a starter essentials article. If you want to go beyond what we've talked about here, like learning how to register for Medicare rebates processing, or what else? Doing telehealth, taking online bookings. You can find everything you need in this starter essentials checklist. So it's really like, what else can I do from here? Okay, I've done all this. What now? What else can I do? This is a great place to start. So also for everybody, this session is being recorded and the link will be emailed to everybody who registered. Make sure to check out our help guide. And also we would like to ask everyone as well, we want to hear from you when you exit this webinar. So we will have a quick Q&A, but when you exit the webinar later, we have a feedback form, and we'd really appreciate if you can complete that. This is really for you. We want to improve your experience of Halaxy, and your feedback is really valuable to us. If you have any other additional questions, please feel free to email us at community@halaxy.com. Also check out our help guide, support.halaxy.com. We send out, we update our release notes every month to let you know our latest features and updates. And yeah, I'll be handing you back to Shane now. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ria. As always, fantastic lessons and insights. I know I learned a lot during these sessions. I'm sure everyone on the call did as well. As Ria just mentioned, we will have a few minutes for some Q&A. So if you have any questions from anything you've seen or any questions that have now popped into your head, please just feel free to enter them into the chat, and Ria and Ethan and Aaron will get to them. So we have a couple of minutes for this. Feel free to pop your questions into the chat now. Thank you, everyone.
Does everyone have anyone have questions? I feel like I'm just going through the chat and I feel like Aaron and Ethan are really quick.
Your webinar was very comprehensive as well, Ria. So I think it answered a lot of questions, especially I know we had some new users on the call. So I think this was a great introduction for them.
The main practice accounts.
Elise, we can get a link to the Halaxy website. I'll share that with you now. It's just halaxy.com, but I will provide that here.
Stacy, if you're referring to online bookings, the times that are available, the time slots that are available on your online bookings for patients to book in will only be the practice hours that you specified in the locations page. So they can't book time slots outside of the hours that you specified. Is there any way that you can search for client forms? So fortunately not yet, Ella. Is this from the clinical notes? That's, yeah, currently we're working on making some design revamps to the clinical notes page. So yeah. Hi, Monica. Yes, we do have, we integrate with Reckon, Reckon 1. We have a help guide article for that. If you search Reckon 1 in our help guide, hang on, see if I can get it here. I think I have it here. Here, Monica, that's the Reckon 1 syncing. Nadima, we use very secure encryption on our on Halaxy. Hang on, we detailed this on our website as well. We take our data security very seriously, and you can read about it more here.
Yeah, security is a big thing for us at Halaxy. It's one of the reasons we just introduced mandatory two-factor authentication to ensure that not only your data, but your client's data is protected. So that's something I would definitely look into as well.
Michelle, is this like, so how do you block out time that you are unavailable during your regular practice hours? So is this like a temporary thing? Like, let's say just for today, you want to block, you're suddenly unavailable? Because if that's the case, I can show you really quickly. So say here for, let's say on Wednesday, I'm suddenly not free. If you click here next to on the cogwheel icon here, you can customize your hours here. And this is just for this day. It's not going to affect your regular schedule. So select the location and then just say for this day, I'm not working. I'm actually just going to be working from, let's say, 9 to 10. I only have like 1 hour today. So if you save that, just for that day, the hours have changed. Elise, yep, the recording will show the chat of this webinar. Oh, with personal appointments, Michelle, that's also another thing you can do. So here on the calendar, and you click on a time slot, instead of patients here, you can click personal here. and you can put in your personal appointment, and that should block out your time there. Yes, the links will be available. They'll be in the chat. Complete notes. Trish, yes, when you complete clinical notes, yep, you'll have to click publish. That's also going to convert the dynamic terms to the actual terms as well. We talk about this more in our we have one of our onboarding webinars called Manage Patient Profiles and Clinical Records. That's in our webinars page on the website. Shane, could you quickly give Trish the link to the webinar? We talk about it more there. Please, what does the client's interface look like? Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. It kind of, you can actually create like a test patient. Hang on, what do I have here? Not actually sure I have one. Yeah, I'm not sure I have it. Wait, where was that question? I lost it. Wait. So fast. Hang on. Vaughn, we'll send you a. Sorry, we're there's a lot of questions. Just gonna send some help guide articles. Vaughn, you can archive a patient or change their patient status to deleted. Yeah, okay, I think that's all the time we have for now. So Shane, I'm just gonna hand it back to you. Thanks everyone for your time. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email us at community@halaxy.com. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
No, thank you for answering those questions, Ria. I think everyone really enjoyed it. I know I did. So what is next? As we mentioned just a few moments ago, we do have a full series of Halaxy onboarding webinar recordings that you can explore and learn at your own pace. And these onboarding webinars really take you through everything you need to know to make the most of Halaxy beyond our Getting Started webinar. And there are really 3 key webinars in this series that I want to touch on. So our first is Streamline Your Scheduling with Halaxy. This is all about unlocking the power of Halaxy's one-click workflow and discovering how you can run your entire practice right from Halaxy's calendar. Our next webinar that we mentioned just before is our Manage Patient Profiles and Clinical Records webinar, which looks at how you can manage patient profiles, how to set up referrals, rebates, and payments, and how to create and send patient intake forms, and a whole lot more. This is really a webinar that focuses in on all the clinical aspects of Halaxy. So if you're involved with that side of your practice, this is a perfect webinar for you. And finally, one webinar that I think is useful for everyone using Halaxy is our Automate Your Practice webinar, which looks at how Halaxy can help you automate routine tasks and really just eliminate manual data entry, saving you up to an hour a day. So as we say at Halaxy, so you can focus more on patient care. Ria is just dropping the link to our webinar page right now. You can, like I said, view these webinars at your own pace, but you can always ask us more questions. But beyond our onboarding webinars, going forward, we will be holding a new webinar every second month of 2024. And our next webinar is going to look at how you can create and send out intake forms to your practice and how Halaxy's intake forms remove administration, reduce human errors, and allow you to dedicate valuable appointment time on patient care. And we'll be sending out invitations to that webinar in the next month or so. So just keep an eye out on your email inbox. And you should see an invitation then when we organize that. So I just want to thank everyone for joining today's webinar. It's been a really great session. I hope you've all learned a lot and enjoy the rest of your day from everyone here at Halaxy.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.